Hey everyone, welcome back to the first podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast. We are so glad you joined us. This is Wednesday, September 20th, and it's going to be a good night tonight. We're looking forward to church tonight, getting back from the revival, and we had a good week of revival, and even a good Sunday this past Sunday, good week. And by the way, we have our fearless missions leader, Chris Terry, here, and so glad he could join us today. And
Whiskers,
Whiskers,
Mr.
yeah,
Whiskers.
call him
Thank you for having me.
And it's been a great week seeing people get saved, and you actually led someone to the Lord the other day.
I got to be there.
You got to be there, yeah. I got to be a part of it, and so we saw 8 people baptized Sunday, and we've got at least 2, maybe 3 this Sunday, and it's cool to see what all the Lord's doing.
Amen.
And so kind of from a pastoral standpoint, kind of give us your revival recap.
My recap was just seeing older folks that have sit in the church for many years, been around church lingo, different things like that, knew the right words to say. Like I said Sunday, that churchese and all that kind of stuff. And just finally just say, you know what? I don't know that I know.
Mm-hmm.
I've just kind of been playing that I know. But now I want to know that I know.
Nailed down.
They nailed it down. And seeing that was great. Seeing, the young family that Tracy had been talking to and cultivating a relationship with over all these years.
And, for a long time.
Yeah, and the daughter, mom and dad, all come to the Lord. That was cool.
Something a lot of people don't get to see because they're not involved in the kid stuff on a day-to-day basis. Is some of these kids are getting saved and then going home and telling their parents and asking them, "Are you going to hell? Are you saved? If we die, am I going to get to be with you or not?" They're asking those questions to their parents, and their parents
of our
are
best
like,
missionaries.
Yeah, they're kind of like,
Well, it's kind of
it's cool to see, but
we shared that on one of these podcasts about once this Sunday we thought like a few weeks ago that we were going to see some parents get in the tub with them, in the baptistry and get baptized. And some of these, they're like cats. They're holding on. They ain't quite surrendered yet. They know they're lost. They know they some of them are born again, but they're just still holding on. They want total surrender and say, yes, I need to be baptized. They know they need to be. They know they're just holding on. And
my daughter is the one that convinced me to start going to church. I'd been saved for a couple of years, but didn't have a relationship and wasn't a member of a church. And she wouldn't let it go. Daddy, take me to church. Daddy, take me to church. I was reading my Bible, but just wasn't part of the body.
Wow.
And I finally gave in and went. And of course, it altered the course of my life. Wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Well, Ronnie Castle's
never been the same.
Yeah. Ronnie Castle's testimony is very similar to that of his son was telling him, "Hey, when are you going to take me to church?" And Ronnie's like, "We'll go Sunday," and they hadn't, and so, and look at what a leader he is, in the church too. So, it's maybe not be the right way that we want to see a family come to know the Lord through their kid, because that's not biblically how the family's supposed to be led. But it is cool to see that the parents don't have anything to do with the Lord, and then the kid comes to Awana or camp or whatever, gets saved, and that kid is the witness to their family.
It's great to see how the Lord's going to make it happen one way or another.
Right.
If he can't use dad or mom, he'll use the kid. Yeah. And if they got a donkey in the yard, he may have to use it.
Yeah. Well, you've had that can of seasoning. Either you or Axton, one gave it to me. And it says on there, about if the dad comes to Christ, this strong
Who's your daddy
percentage.
seasoning?
Yeah, who's your daddy seasoning?
Well, the statistics.
Of course,
are
we're
amazing.
not getting any royalties on that, but we'll still use it.
Well, I think the number.
I need a case of
if
who's
a
your
child comes to Christ, there's a 3.5% chance of the entire family.
Nuts.
If a mother comes to Christ, there's a 17% chance. But if a father comes to Christ, there's a 93% chance that the entire family will. And in a lot of cases, well, in my case too, the father was dropping the ball.
Yeah.
Well, you look in the Bible. I mean, it gives us those cases, and it says, he got saved and the whole household.
Right.
He got saved and the whole household. Yeah,
right.
And
that's the first thing you're going to do. And another thing in the Bible, when people get saved, the first thing they want to do is go tell everyone they love and everyone they know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got so many people that say, I love Jesus and I'm a member of a church, but I don't want anybody to know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and what's been cool with the revival was seeing there was a lot of elderly men, 80-year-old man, 70-year-old man that gave their life to the Lord. And in my heart, part of the reason I took over men's ministry at whenever I did that was part of my heart of if us as the men of God will get a backbone and stand up and lead, there's no telling what could happen. Mm-hmm. It's not to diminish the lady's role or anything, but it's to say God created us to lead. Right. And if we'll just do that in a godly manner, a godly way, we'll see our homes flipped. I've had a couple of conversations where, the guy was like, "I'm just not being fed." I'm like, "Well, one, I'm not seeing you at Bible studies. I'm not seeing you in places to be fed."
Yeah.
But then number two, that's not the church's responsibility. That's your job as the leader of your home, is to lead your home. That's a home issue, and complaining about not being fed or changing churches, whatever it is not going to fix that. That's a heart issue with you that you've got to surrender to the Lord and then lead your family.
Decision and seeking.
Yeah.
You know how long that excuse has been around?
Oh, in the beginning of time.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's just an excuse.
But that's been my heart is as men, we've got to lead. We've got to step up and lead. Right. That was something at Men of Courage last night. Luke Hawk and Josh kind of hammered home is the reason our country is the way it is not Joe Biden's fault. It's because godly men didn't stand up.
Yeah.
The reason we're having the issues we are in churches or just in society as a whole is because godly men won't stand up.
Right.
And so again, that's just been part of my heart, and I know it is y'all's too. If godly men will stand up and lead, then we'll see some stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus changed the entire world with 12 godly men.
Yeah. Well, and you look at Joshua. He said, "For me and my house," he made the decision as the leader of his home.
Right.
For me and my house, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. He didn't ask for anybody's opinion. He didn't say if my kids like it. If they want to go to church this week, we'll do it. There was no opinions involved. It was just, this is what we're doing. Get on board. Type situation. So I had that conversation with a young man the other day of he was having some issues at home, and I just said, "Brother, be the example. Yeah. Get up early, read your Bible. Let your kids see you read the Bible and lead your home, and it'll change." And so it's been kind of coming back to revival. It's been cool to see men get saved, and that'll change their home just from that. So it's been a good week of all that. So
so like I said, fruit from after, we're going to see for sure. One that I know of from the revival, and meeting with two tonight.
Yeah.
The Lord's dealing with them. So it's not just inside the meeting. Does revival happen?
Right.
It's going to be an ongoing, that fresh wind.
Well, the saying, how do you know you had revival if it doesn't stop? If things keep going, things keep progressing, and you keep seeing the Lord do stuff, that's how you know you're experiencing the Lord.
And some people, they have to sit on it and churn it a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Holy Spirit stirred.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been good.
Well, our traveler here just got back from Mexico, and he didn't bring one taco.
Wow.
Not one.
Well, he brought them.
I brought them.
Well, he brought them.
Yeah,
just he did not share them. And I gave him an earful. Hello, you go to the motherland of tacos and you don't bring me one.
He introduced you to the place of tacos.
Well, I used to live there. I was on the border. I know the good stuff from the Trejos. Trejos is not the good stuff. Okay? I don't mind putting that on this thing. That is not Mexican food. Okay.
Right.
So we did not get an endorsement from you.
Hey, I used to love Tex-Mex, and it's got its time and its place. But real Mexican food is
that's the best.
That's what I said. We introduced you.
I'm not going to say the name of the restaurant because then everybody will be there.
We don't want any more folks there.
We got to go back. That's what we got to do. We got to go back. And but you did just come back from Mexico and got to go see the church that we sponsor, the pastor we sponsor, and so kind of give us just a little update on how the church is going.
A lot of activity there still, even though it's a construction zone. The church is full. People sitting outside. I originally was not scheduled to be there. I was supposed to be. We were splitting up to two other churches. And, of course, I want to be at our church, but I also see how the other churches like to see the Americans come. And I wanted to encourage, but Pastor Gabriel would not take no for an answer. And I'm glad he did. And he asked me 3 times, and I told him, I said, look, it's not up to me. It's up to Mark and and Roberto, and so he went straight to Mark, and Mark put it off on Roberto, and then when I saw him, he was talking with Roberto, and then it just kind of hit me. I was thinking about Matthew. It says where they ask, give, and he wanted me there, so I said, that's where I need to be.
Yeah.
But I was blessed enough. I got to preach, and we had already went over and seen the construction site. A lot of progress. All the walls are up, but it's also a dangerous area. I stepped on a nail while I was there, and I felt it go through the sole of my shoe and touch my foot. And for about 30 minutes, I didn't know if it had broken the skin or not.
Yeah.
And it didn't. But it just kind of opened my eyes to the fact that we don't need to waste time.
Yeah.
They've had to tear the bathroom down to make room for the addition, so they've got a temporary bathroom outside with a tarp around it. If you did something like that in America, it would be, would have very good attendance if you did away with the bathrooms.
Right.
And then if you take out the air conditioning, it'd be crickets.
Yeah.
But it's
Take
growing.
out the automobiles too,
Oh yeah,
because they walk to church.
Yeah,
most
yeah.
of them.
Walk, catch a ride,
Yeah.
get the little bicycle taxi. They're going to get there because they have a desire to be with the family of God and the house of God.
Yeah.
We do need to. It has put on my heart to. We need to kind of amp the sense of urgency, because when I stepped on that nail, it just made me realize there's kids playing around there, and it could be a potential hazard. So. It's going to be good to see it completed.
Yeah. It's exciting to see, just that area growing up, that church growing up, and I'm hoping to take that trip myself one day because I want to go see it.
They have such a desire to learn about the Lord. When the church is over, you can't get them to leave. They want to hang out.
When I lived on the border, and I lived in Texas, but we were 25 minutes from Reynosa, Mexico. I mean, we were, and you know exactly where you've been there. We'd go into, it's called the Colonia. It's right under the bridge. As soon as you cross the border, you look under the bridge, and that's where they're living. They're living in makeshift houses of pallets and stuff. And we actually had missionaries that used to, I think they still do, they lived there and would make them houses, like one-room shacks with a loft on them, but they was something stable, And we'd go over there multiple times throughout the year. And I found this out, and you've been out of the country. I think all three of us have. When you go out of the country and you meet someone who's saved, they're sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They're giving you all they got. They're walking for miles. It's not just a routine, religious routine to go through. They're giving you all they got. And you're right. They won't leave. I mean, we did multiple services down there, especially like Thanksgiving services and things like that. We're singing for an hour, and it's not enough. And then they're preaching it's not enough, and they're hungry, they're starving to death, and they'll take whatever they can get.
Our missionary down there, we only asked him for 2 days a week, Wednesday and Sunday, but he's reversed that. There's only 2 days a week that he's not there.
Wow.
He wants to be there. And Sundays, after they have church and Sunday school, they cook a meal, and then he calls it living with the people. They go home visits, door to door. And that's something that we could, and I know we here at First Blanchard does, but the American church should learn from that.
Mm-hmm.
We went with one of the members to one of the churches. We went to several churches, and we do home visits with them. And one of the members was our translator, and we went to 2 home visits, and we walked through a neighborhood, and he said, "This is my house right here," and he pointed to his house, and we went to the person next door.
Wow.
I thought, how original is that?
Yeah.
And it was 4 blind people that lived in the house, and it was just an amazing experience.
Wow.
They ended up showing up to the Men and Women of Courage event. So he went next door, invited his neighbor, and his neighbor showed up.
You know what? That's a crazy thing you say that all you have to do is invite people.
I've heard that 65% of saved people that aren't going to church, if you just invite them, they'll say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just invite them.
Well, there was a Sunday a few weeks ago. No, it was a Wednesday. Some ladies hadn't been coming to the Wednesday night Bible study and stuff. So I intentionally sought them out, invited them. All 4 showed up the next Wednesday. Sunday school. You invite folks to Sunday school. Here's a cool one. before COVID. Remember we started doing the new mover cards? It was mailing out. Then we'd get the address and everything. Christy and I went and visited one of these new movers before COVID. 3 weeks ago, the lady shows up and said, she didn't say anything. We didn't notice her that week. The next week, during the revival, she came forward and she said, I want to recommit my life to the Lord and everything. And I was just handing out, hey, Christy, I need you to go with this lady. Tracy Price, I need you to go with this lady. Jordan, I need you to go with this lady. Just a God thing. Paired her up with Christy. Wow. She said, I remember you. You came to my house. And we were new movers and all that. Do you remember? And so they came. Her and her husband came to Gateway Sunday.
Wow.
I sent them a text Monday, invited my Sunday school class. Said we'll be there.
Wow.
It's just.
Yeah. Sometimes it's all it takes.
Yeah.
Just ask.
Yeah. Just ask, and it may take 2 years, 3 years. It's all God's time.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, and this is kind of some foreshadowing for next year. And we're still trying to figure out some details, but one of the goals next year for our out-of-the-country mission trip is Mexico, to go see the church, go see the pastor, help kind of finish some building and things like that. So as soon as we know some more details, we'll get it to everybody. But that is one of the goals for next year, which is exciting. And it's just going to be – it's cool to see how the Lord is using this church to help that church.
Right.
And to build it up and to do all that.
Going down there, we can learn so much from watching them. One of the first mission trips I heard, it said that they do so much more with so much less.
Yeah.
It's true.
And that's it.
Hey, let me give a plug for a trip, too, because I only have 5 spots left for Israel. So 5 spots left if you're wanting to go.
February?
February, yeah. So just give us a call here at the office, ask for me. And we'll make that happen, but only have 5 left. And I know there were some folks that were on the teeter saying, "Hey, we're going to go."
And I'm telling you, as someone who's been on that trip, you want to take it. You'll never forget that trip. Mm-hmm. It is so good.
It's a life-changing
trip. We started the Sermon on the Mount study on Sunday nights at 5, and they're really good. So please,
I actually got to preach there.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. It makes those scriptures that we read and go through, they blow up in your mind because you're walking where you're reading. Mm-hmm. When you go on the Mount of Beatitudes, you're reading it and you're walking where it was preached, and you can't replace that. You can't. I always tell them, you've got a photo, a framed poster, and I do too, and
Temple Mount.
Yeah, well, it knows. We're on the Mount of Olives, looking through the Kidron Valley into the city of Jerusalem. And when we went, there was 50 of us, and we were on the Mount of Olives.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking the other one.
It was Easter morning. 50 of us from our college choir group on the Mount of Olives, looking over the Kidron Valley into Jerusalem.
And they take your picture.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's nothing that can replace. I mean, that is seared in my mind. And you're looking at the Eastern Gate there, and of course, the Muslims have that graveyard in front of it because Jews won't walk through a graveyard.
Cement it in.
Cement it in. They close it. Oh, Jesus can't get through this one.
He ain't walking through graveyards.
Checkmate.
Wrong.
Not.
And so, but all those things that you read about, it just comes alive. And it'll be things you never forget.
You find yourself crying.
Yeah.
I mean, you just it's such awe.
Yeah.
And then I think me and you are going to sneak off to Belize at some point too.
Need to.
Yeah, we'll go in that 2024. My goodness, time flies. We'll have to go sometime in 2024.
I've been wanting to get there for a
while.
know. I know they've got a lot of
good
stuff going on.
Yeah, Michael and Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I was lined up to go on a trip to go see him, and then COVID hit.
Yeah, shut it down.
We kept trying to get back, and COVID. I mean, that whole season of time with COVID, man, they were locked down.
Well, they were locked down a lot longer than
hard
us,
too.
even longer than Mexico. Mexico loosened up a little bit, and we were able to come in and out pretty easily. But even after that, they were.
Well, real quick, last plug because we gotta wrap this thing up, but. Our candy drive has started for our Fall Fest. and y'all are already bragging. You've already got it one, and we ain't even tallied up anything.
Oh, we got all kind of candy stash.
So Sunday schools, please bring your candy.
Yeah, we need it though.
And it's I'm not lying to you. Last year we had anywhere from 600 to 800 people on campus, and we ran out of candy, and so we need as much
I think my
as
class
possible.
alone brought 500 pounds of candy.
Yeah,
and we ran out.
yeah.
You think maybe we could get some donations from some local dentist? Sure, they can get you in.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yes,
maybe
we
get
need
some
a
job security
sponsorship
out there.
charge for advertisements or something.
Is that some beaches or something like that? Don't the beaches home?
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that.
Ben, where you at?
Yeah. we need some
So
help.
so please bring candy to your Sunday school class, and
Pitch the pork butt too.
yeah, the pork butt. Our youth is selling pork butts. Please go find a youth, and so you can buy one from them. But it's a fundraiser for them to go to YEC in November. But please find one of them to order through, or you can call the office and we'll get you set up that way as well. And
We only have 80.
but
So.
yeah, we've only got 80, so you better get them while they last. And so they're going to be really good too. They're going to be phenomenal. But then with the Candy Fall Fest is coming up October 29th, and so we need the candy as soon as possible to have that ready and get it put out. And we're starting to advertise the Fall Fest. It's going to be really good. Trunk or treat, preschool pumpkin patch, and then the illusionist who came a while back. He's going to be back to do that. He's going to be doing
Colby
awesome. King. He's going to be doing at least 3 different shows in the sanctuary, possibly 4 if we can fit the time in. But he's going to do his stuff that he does, but also preach the gospel in just an easy way to understand.
Well,
so,
because all of anything we're going to do like this, we're sharing the gospel.
yeah,
We're getting them on the parking lot. We're getting them here by whatever means, and then the gospel is going to be clear. When he came the last time, I don't know how many people got saved, and we even had an adult get
it was
saved.
adult.
In his,
I think there was like 5 people, something like that.
Mhm.
4 kids and an adult.
Right.
And he just doesn't. It's super
it's
easy to
so
understand. He
easy
does a
to
great job
understand.
with it. So, it's coming up pretty soon, and you're going to hear a lot about it in the coming days. And we're going to need your help volunteering in certain areas, but also candy. And it's just going to be a great time. Again, this is our one massive event all year round that is just all hands on deck type of an event. And so we need you a part of that. And again, we had about 600 to 800 people. We're expecting 8,000 to 1,000 this year, and it keeps growing every year, and which is exciting to see. So please keep on a lookout for that. And thank you for tuning in today, Chris. Glad to have you on here, brother.
Okay, anything else
Appreciate
you want to
that.
share before you get off? Anything new?
Oh,
Anything old?
not that I can think of. I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, just so you know, October 1st, make plans to be here because your grandbabies are going to be parent baby dedication on that
Yeah.
day.
That's going to be the day after the Oklahoma crosswalk.
So you'll be wore out.
I will maybe in a wheelchair.
That's a double plug there, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
For the October 1st, and make sure you're there.
Yeah.
I will be.
Your wife will be carrying you in on crutches, but you'll be.
100-mile
Yeah.
crosswalk.
Oh man, that just sounds terrible. All of it, just Oklahoma crosswalk, 100-mile. It all sounds terrible. That's just awful.
It's a game changer,
Yeah,
though.
Oh, yeah.
Just another opportunity to tell people about Jesus.
that's it.
Amen.
That's it. Well, on that note, you can have fun with the walk. And
There's still room for you to go.
no, I'm good. I appreciate the
Barely
invite.
going to walk here to the office, which is all right.
We're getting some office mopeds to be able to ride around the church. And so I'm just kidding. We're not doing it. But hey, we love you. Thank you for tuning in today and watching, listening. And God bless you. We love you. Talk to you later.